So, hi everyone, and I'd like to apologize. Tim and I have been gone for about 2 weeks, I do believe. I have taken off a much needed rest, and because this has been so stressful on me, and I don't think Tim will be coming here today and talking to us. Right now he's in the bathroom talking to whoever it is, and if you're watching this, please, no phone calls past 6 o'clock. That's our vlogging time. Thank you. I'm not going to be rude about it, but vlogging time is 6 to 8, and sometimes we do it quite later, so it's 8 sometimes. So if you need a phone, if you need a call, or you need something, just text. Other than that, all my YouTubers out there, we're gonna try to get the vlogs usually out in the morning if we can. Depends on how I'm feeling and if I'm rested. If I'm not rested enough, then I usually like to vlog at 8:30 at night in my quiet zone. And my quiet zone lately has been in the bedroom. I think you guys can probably see there's a crib behind me. And that was, and it still is, Daniel's crib. So whenever he comes home, his crib will be there. And the only reason why it's there right now is because I was moving things. We were moving things around a couple of weeks ago. So we have a couple of things that have just showed up from Brady. Tim and I have been trying to get hold of Brady for 2 weeks, and she would not return our phone calls. We were constantly calling her, and it was literally 2 weeks of phone calling her constantly, all day, every day for 2 weeks. She would never return our phone calls. We've contacted her lawyers. I'm able to see mine now. Thankfully, I got to get Tim to call his tomorrow to get an appointment to see his before court, and then if I don't like how court turns out, then I will have it re-adjourned and have another court hearing. Other than that, I hope we have no more disruptions by family, friends calling. I probably will be putting everything on vibrate from now on from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. at night. So if you guys need anything, just send a text message, and that's how you can get reach us. But that's usually our vlogging time, because I find I can upload quickly at night better than I can during the morning, because I don't know, Shaw's just weird. Okay, so the only way we could have actually got hold of Brady, and we actually did finally get hold of Brady, was the last day we had our parent aid. And I'd like to want to talk to you all about what we found out of our parent aid, what's been going on for everything, what corruption we've been dealing with, and everything else. Okay, let's get a little breather. So the only way Timothy was able to get hold of Brady was my Auntie Thelma's cell phone. So we used Auntie's cell. She had the nerve to say to Tim, which was fine with me, I don't mind if Tim's mom wants to see Daniel, aka Danny, because she has every right to. And when Daniel is home by April is our goal, she'll be seeing a lot of Daniel. So, because I have a feeling that she'll be down upstairs a lot seeing her grandkids, since we have a little girl coming in April. Anyways, so we got hold of Brady, and she says, well, Tim's mom wants visitations. She requested visitations for Daniel. And I was thinking, well, okay, whatever, I don't really care. You know, it's when she has time and when she's not working. And that's fine. Like, whatever. And then I said, well, what about my mom? And she was being a snotty little bitch. I'm not going to say which, a little bitch. And stated, well, your mom has to call. Basically, her language is, your mom has to call me to get visitation rights to see Daniel. Excuse me? Like, really? And I'm like, she's right here. My exact snarty words, because I had to be snotty back. Kind of. And literally, this is when I got up to and walked away, because I couldn't deal with hearing her voice any time longer. Short story is, my grandmother and I and my Aunt Thelma and Timothy is going to a visit on the 28th at the end of this month to see our son. What I do not like is it's on his nap time at 1 to 3. So I'll be bringing that up in court. He does nap times at 1 to 3 every day, and he's more active at 11 to 3:15. Or wait, 11 to 1. I'm sorry. His mom knows him. I do. Pretty well. What I do not like, and I know it's going to happen at me while they're going to tell me what to do and how to basically do it with my son. If they say anything, I'm going to look at them and say, are you his mother? If not, shut up and leave me alone. Or I'm walking out. Because I've had enough with Miwa. Miwa has been pissing me off since the day that my son has been put into care. And they have been twisting CPS's arm, this is the visiting suite I'm talking about, and putting corruption in their freaking papers. Okay. We are now rewinding back to May of 2015. Could have been March. I don't know. We're going to rewind back to May 2015. We had a visitation at Miwa, and they didn't like the way Timothy was changing my son's diaper. Sorry, but Tim's a new dad. And they basically tried to tell him what to do. And I got pissed off. Told them where to go, how far to get there. They don't like that very much. The corruption we are dealing with now is a parent aide who was supposed to help us to get our son back, and has basically not in our lives now, basically, which I'm thinking we'll get a parent aide back again, but not the same one. I really like Julie. Not what I found out from the lawyers. Corruption is in any state, province, country, territory, wherever you live. And I'm afraid for every little day if my son's gonna wake up the next morning. Because children die in CPS care. Literally. And I didn't like the way they were making Tim look like shit. And Tim hasn't done anything wrong. Basically, Timothy, if you can come here and tell everybody what they said about you that was false in those piece of papers, that'd be great.
About what?
Come sit beside me.
Said about what?
That piece of paper that the lawyer had, what were they saying?
They were bashing us.
They were bashing us, but what were they saying on those piece of papers?
That we're deadbeats.
There were deadbeats, we wouldn't be able to look after our son, he'd be at harm. But then we had a parenting assessment stated that he would not be at harm. But they need to redo those assessments, because the assessments that we have is basically all lies. And the assessment that our lawyer has is a different assessment that Tim and I have, and it's all separate lies. Okay, I think one of the assessments that the lawyer had was, I think they stated that there was a recommendation that we had to do parenting classes, which is fine, we'll do it anyways.
Yeah.
And that we would work on getting our son back, right? So, but then there's another assessment that they have that stated, like, we're too stupid to have our son. I'm sorry to say it. You want to close that door because it's the light? I have a disability. I have ADHD, a cognitive delay, teeny tiny delay. Why, with that disability, could my Aunt Thelma have her son, Kenneth? And she raised him, and he's now 21 years old. Yeah, same exact disability, and she raised Kenneth. And Uncle David wasn't even in the picture most of Kenny's life. So, why did CPS didn't take her child? I'm sorry. This is how I'm saying. It's all because of when Kenny was born. It was a time, and he was born in a different hospital. He was born in City Hospital. This is right before City Hospital, labor and delivery, L&D, closed. If we still were able to have babies at City Hospital, I'm sure I would have my son home. And now there's one reason is you don't raise your child, look after your child out of a parenting book. You don't have to read 101 ways of parenting a child out of the dummy book. You raise your child the way you want to raise it, and that's fine. But CPS thinks in their own little heads that if you're not following their recommendations of parenting your own child, you're going to harm them. So I will give you a quick suggestion. If you put everything baby proof and you lock all your cupboards up, put everything up high, which is what I have done just to make them happy. But then all of a sudden you have to get a new TV stand with doors on it, which is, I'm sorry to say it, are expensive. Close to $200 if you really want a good one. And when you're on welfare, you have to save up, and that takes months because you have to pay your bills because they don't give you enough. So, in the end, I have basically told Tim, and I hope you all agree, is I'm raising my son the way I was raised. If he goes by, and he hasn't done this yet, but if he touches the Xbox One, it falls on his head by accident, he's going to learn not to touch the Xbox, right? The Xbox might even work better, but that's another story. But I'm just saying, I would rather raise my son not in a bubble, because if he was in a bubble, what life would that be for a little boy? Where he can't go and do risks and his own decisions and choices. I'm sorry, I was probably 6 or 7 years old, maybe even younger, and learning what was right and wrong. Do not put my fingers in the van door because, well, I'm going to have broken fingers and they're going to be crooked. I was 3 years old, and I learned my lesson. I have two. You guys can't see which fingers are which, and I ain't showing them because they ain't appropriate. Because they're really badly broken, and they were never fixed. Or one of these decisions is when I by accidentally ran to the kiddie pool, because I had a kiddie pool, and thought it would be fun to run and jump into the water. There's not much water in this kiddie pool, and I broke one of my legs. I was in a cast all summer. It was a bad year for me. I was raised, now this is where the CPS corruption comes all into play. I was raised in a home that you expect your elders. You say, yes ma'am, no sir. And if you're not being asked to do something, you're seen and not heard. This is when somebody falsely calls CPS on my own grandfather. which is my adopted father, my dad. He has been gone since 2007. He died of all body cancer. Somebody called him and stated that he yanked Kenny out of the van, my cousin Kenneth, and basically just about broke his arm. Because Kenneth was being naughty. My father has never or ever hurt a child. But that was on the CPS file stating that if my father harmed Kenneth because of Dad's anger, which Dad wasn't even, he did have a little bit of an anger issue, but he could deal with it. But if Dad did something wrong, I'm going to be at blame of hurting my own son. But there's more. My mother had a CPS phone call from another lady. I am not able to say to what happened. Stated that she was basically dangling my sister 3 stories up off a balcony, upside down. Why would my mother do this? My sister was born with 2 broken legs in utero because her knees were crooked, and that was that. Later then, my mother was able to prove to CPS 18 months, close to 12 months later, 12 to 14 months later, with a CPS corruption that we were dealing with in 1992, that she never did this. Could have been 92. No, 94. And she never did this. Why would she harm Alice? Okay? She would never harm Alice. She would never harm anybody. So that is also on the CPS report. So because of my family has a history with child abuse, falsely accused child abuse, I would be at harm with harming my son. Why would I? I'm a person that wants to be a nurse. Eventually I'm going to get my schooling and get my ass off this couch or bed and make something out of my life. But not now, because right now I'm worried about my son. And then they stated that my daughter, my firstborn daughter, that I had at 16, she was apprehended at birth. No. My ex-husband, Emmanuel, and I signed Beth Maria when she was only 8 days old. And we walked out of RUH hospital with her, with my Aunt Thelma. And I raised her till she was 4. And then, since I was in school, I had a decision to make. And that was the worst decision ever. But I never gave her away. I still see her constantly. And when Daniel's home, we will reunite them all together. Then we had Ashley, my second, and she was taken right out of the hospital, like Daniel was. And they stated it was all because of my ex-husband, who was a child molester. My ex-husband and his father-in-law, Bill Shuya, or William Shuya. I'm really not supposed to be saying these names. I could be getting into a lot of trouble. He harmed not just one child, but 3. And they were afraid that Ashley would have been at harm. And I had a recommendation for the parenting, from the parenting capacity, was to leave my ex-husband and file for a divorce and go into housing to get Ashley back. Now, they stated that I abandoned Ash. CPS knew. I called CPS, talked to Laurie Hughes, which was not really her case plan manager, but I didn't know who else to talk to because I couldn't talk to the other lady. And I told Lori, tell the, I think her name was Janice. Doesn't matter. I says, I have to leave to the States because that's the only way I can go. Where I can go. I don't want to go. I need to go. If you need me, call me. I had a phone still at that time. And I left to the States for 6 months. And I'm really happy I did. I actually grew and prospered in LA. And I'll make sure this is still recording. Okay. I grew and prospered in LA. And I grew up. I became a mom. I'm sorry. I'm going to change this over here. This is a picture of Daniel on my computer. I don't know if you can see it on there. It's probably too white out. But that's my son and I. Okay? Does he look like he's going to be hurt? Does he look like he's going to be hurt, guys? He's in a loving home with a wonderful father, with myself. And we need to start coming out of no more CPS corruption, no more of them saying that we're going to harm him and we're unable to look after him because we have ADHD and he's ADD. Sorry, I'm having a lot of heartburn. It doesn't matter if you're dumb and stupid or retarded. You can still be a parent. Why don't they take people's kids away who are drug addicts? I know somebody, I ain't saying, and it's none of my friends, I'm saying, anyways, they smoke marijuana, they do drugs, they listen to loud, inappropriate music, which we do listen to a couple of Alice Cooper CDs ourselves, but we don't always. We make sure it's none of the stuff that is swear words inside of it. And they get to keep their child. I'm sorry, that's inappropriate. So we all always have to think, I will be doing another corruption vlog tomorrow. I'll try to get one out tomorrow with Tim. Because right now, we all got to try to get together, and if your child's in Family Services Care, or CPS Care of Saskatoon, actually it's Child's Protection Services, that's what it's called in Saskatoon, CPS, then sit down and fight for what you believe in. Sit in front of a camera for 20 minutes a day and talk about how you feel and what you're dealing with, what you're going through. Don't say a lot because I ain't going to say much till after court. But I will see you guys tomorrow, and I will have Tim with me tomorrow. Bye, everyone. And you stay safe if you all are in that Prairie Province to this week. It's going to get a little cooler, a little warmer, then a little cooler, but it's going to get warmer again. Bye, everyone.